Awesome. Well, here's the deal, Toya. Today is March, and we are already in the third month of 2023, which always blows my mind a little bit. But let's start big picture. How did 2023? How's it starting?
I think it's actually starting with a lot of excitement. I think that people are used to being in a new market. And I really am seeing a lot of agents prepare for, just what's coming. You've mentioned it in many meetings, our greatest of all time. So I do believe this is an opportunity season. And I think every market brings about new opportunities. So we're feeling some
Yeah,
excitement here.
I like it. I wanted to actually start with a quote. And
Okay.
I've shared this in some offices, but it's certainly worthy of a share again. And it's really Mike. It's a Michael Jordan quote, and it's the year of the goat, so we got to go there. But Michael talks about it. Hey, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost more than 300 games. I've 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Toya, I love this quote, and I want to explain why I love this quote. Because if I'm a real estate professional and I am reading that quote, one way I could translate it would be, hey, how many doors have I knocked that somebody slammed the door in my face? Or how many phone calls have I made that somebody got a little rough on the phone with me? Or how many emails have I sent that somebody unsubscribed to? Or how many marketing pieces have I spent money and mailed that they may never even have looked at and just pitched in the trash, right? But if you understand this quote from Michael, all that means is you're on your way to success. The more you
Yep.
do that, the more unsubscribes, the more rough phone calls, the faster you're making your way to success. And why I think it's so important on an industry update to talk about that is for this very reason. Activities is what's going to cause us to succeed and getting into
I
the
agree.
activity. So from a 2023 kickoff, I guess everybody's got to ask themselves the question, us included, how are we doing on our activities?
And I think you're absolutely correct. I love the failure quote. One of my favorite quotes is nothing beats a failure but a try. And I do think we're going to have to get a lot of no's in order to get to those yeses. But you're closer to that other side of it if you just continue to do the habits, just the daily
There you go.
activities.
100%. So awesome. I want to start with that. Let's jump into the numbers. So I'm on my laptop, so every window's in the way today. 686 active properties in Fulton County. We've got 138 under contract, 288 pending, and 207 closed. So here's what I find interesting, Toya. 207 closed. Last month, the end of the month, there were 223. So are we down? Are we up? I actually think you're looking at January, the middle weeks kind of had lower numbers,
Mhm.
134, 154, 170. But the middle weeks of February were 173, 192, 185. So even though this number is less than the end of January, I actually think we closed more houses in the month of February. And we're going to be able to
I,
see that here in a minute.
I'm hopeful. I would say the same because you're seeing the traction. So, maybe it starts off slow and then it picks up.
There you go. DeKalb County, let's take a look. 350 active inventory, 104 most under contract in a while, pending 195. So we're looking good on the pending. And then if you get the closings, 151 was the end of the month closing number, 141 at the beginning of February. So I actually can show on paper we've closed more property in both Fulton County and DeKalb County in February, as we expected. The
Yep.
other big county, Cobb, 362. 90 under contract, 175 pending, 162 closings compared to 152 30 days ago. What do you make of it?
Again, I think we're going to see just an increase. I like what I'm seeing. You know, I think we kind of start off the month slow, but like you said, it picks up right in the middle. It'll be interesting to see, of course, we're tearing for the end of first quarter, what second quarter is going to look like. And I do think we're going to see a lot of ramp up. It's seasonal, but I think also we've got a lot of great activities that are going on. The agents that I'm speaking with are just going back to the basics. They're doing fundamentals. Yeah.
There you
They're
go.
playing that game.
All right. So if I'm on the real estate stats, Toya, and I click it and it opens like it's supposed to, you're going to see if I go down to home sales by month, and I may be on a slow connection here, but I'm going to
see it.
There we go. I'm going to put 2019 as a comparison year and 2022 and 2023 on here. So in February, per the FMLS, it went down from 7,430 to 4,830 in closings in February, where January went backwards about 34%. Here's the challenge, Toya. We got an agent problem. So even though I'm pulling stats, and today's what's today, March 5th, March 6th?
March 6th.
Not every agent's closed their listing out in the FMLS for the end of February closings. Mm-hmm. So this number actually probably is not 100% accurate for a couple of weeks until I can go back and rerun it to make sure all the February closings were closed out on time. But it's still going to give us a pretty close representation of what things are looking like. If I go back and add 2019, 2019 was a big ramp up to the spring selling months. We're seeing a slow ramp up to the selling months. But at the end of the day, these numbers are really starting to take off. And we're expecting March to be much higher, right?
Correct. And I think we have to look at it as trends. It is, of course, we know that we're in a new market. We're not seeing the results that we've seen in the past couple of years. However, we are seeing that the market is going up. So that's good news.
100%. What do you consider the selling season? And give me the right team leader answer. Every day is a selling day, right?
Every day.
If you weren't giving me that answer, what do you consider to be the selling season?
Well, I think it shows it always in second and third quarter. We are, that's the summertime. That's peak season for us. And we know that. But this is what I would say, and this is what I would add. I do still think that because if you're noticing where we are in terms of units that we're closing and we're lagging behind the last couple of years, we're going to have to do more. So although we're seeing a slight increase, we know we're going into peak season, and that's great. It just may not be the peak season that you've been accustomed to for the last couple of years. So the question has to be, what are you doing differently in order to maintain the same level of success that you had last year?
Yeah. One of the gifts to the real estate market right now is price appreciation.
Oh, so that was a huge gift. That was a raise.
Even though you're selling less units, you may not actually be selling less real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're paid on a percentage of sales price, your income may not look the same as closed units.
Correct.
Now, that means there's going to be a winner and a loser in that conversation, because somebody's going to get the sale and somebody's going to miss a sale.
That is correct.
We got to make sure we're the ones getting the sale. But I want to jump over to one thing, Toya. In here, the National Association of Realtors statistics is this slide. And if you notice, the purple line is 40%. So we consider 40% of homes purchased are done by first-time home buyers. That's the industry normal, is 40%. Mm-hmm. So starting in 2014 down to 2022, the percentage of first-time homebuyers has gone way down. Now, why
Yes.
is that? I think the price of real estate's gone up. I think the cost of money's gone up. I think new construction typically is where a lot of first-time homebuyers go, and new construction has lagged. But here's the number I want to focus on: 26%. So where are they?
Well, here's the thing. I pulled up an NAR stat, and that 26%, believe it or not, when we're looking at, well, who were the first time home buyers and who are the first time home buyers, millennials actually they increased their purchase from the last 2 years actually until today. So although that's down 26%, I always try to figure out where is the opportunity. The opportunity has to be with the millennials. We've got to be able to have more of that, but affordability is the key. Where are they moving to? Where is it affordable? So they may not be moving in the city, they're moving in the suburbs, they're moving into places where it truly is more affordable for them. But the good news is that they're moving out of their parents' home and they've saved some money.
Maybe. I don't think they did over the last couple of years.
Well, according to this, and I'll pull this particular statistic up.
Natalie.
I'm sorry.
No, keep
Natalie.
going.
Okay. They are showing some improvement there. And one of the things in the conversations that I'm having with agents is, where are you going to find your next pool of buyers? Who are the next pool of buyers? That is going to be between your ages of 27 and 42. That's it. They're moving, they're relocating, they're doing all of those things, and they are purchasing. But where is it affordable for them? That's the key in the solution that we have to find. Where is it?
Yeah. Natalie, do you have a question or comment?
It's a question / comment. I'm wondering if, because I keep hearing that, and then how first time home buyers have gone down, but I wonder how much of that had to do with, one, price point, because we were coming off the recession where house prices were extremely low. And then two, down payment assistance programs that we had, because I remember a few years ago, I used a lot of those to get my clients into homes. And then three, I'm not sure if you guys remember that incentive that Obama had, where if you bought a house between a certain time, you got like an $8,000 credit or something. So I wonder how much of that had to do with this time period versus the last few years. DPAs haven't been as popular because of the demand. And then, of course, affordability has gone up. So that first time competitor hasn't been able to compete because you're having to put a lot of money down. It's a
100%.
question / the tennis match in my head.
Sure. So when the government creates incentives to kickstart a housing program, I think you see that in 08, 09, 2010, right here. These were the prime years they had done the down payment assistance to kind of kickstart the economy again. What happens is you probably pull buyers from the future into now. And then there's going to be a lag time in the future of people that do that. But what I believe happened is, I believe there is a giant group of people that would buy real estate today if our real estate agents got the right information in front of them today. And it's because they missed the opportunity of buying real estate in the last couple of years because of the way real estate was being sold. The $50,000 cash over asking price buyer, the person that lost in that conversation the most was this first time home buyer, right?
Absolutely.
So here's the question: how do we find them and what do we do about it? Because I think one of the strongest dialogues we could be having as real estate professionals today is, when you buy a house, you lock your cost of living for 30 years. So if I buy real estate today, my cost of living is pretty much locked for the next 30 years of my life. So when a new first-time home buyer buys their first house, that principal and interest payment is fixed for 30 years, 99% of the time. Now, tax and insurance are going to waiver, but more or less my cost of living is fixed. Now, do I want to wait 2 years for interest rates to come down to lock my cost of living? Or do I want to lock my cost of living today and then use the opportunity to reduce it in the future? And I think that's a really important conversation. Think of it in terms of investment real estate. Investment real estate says, I buy today, I'll lock my debt service for 30 years. Well, what's going to happen over the next 30 years? The price of the house is going up. The value of the house is going up. Rents are going to escalate. They're going to go up. And my equity is going to go up because my balance is going down over time. And so it's really about locking it in. Now, how do we, as real estate professionals, last week we talked about this slide, which was, what's the primary reason for purchasing a home? It's a desire to own a house, right? That's the number one slide. But our challenge, Toya, is how do we create the right message to attract people to these reasons? How do we create a right message for people that desire to own a home? Or what do we say to attract somebody into a first-time home buyer?
Well, again, I go to, who are going to be the next group of buyers. And so again, just going off of pure stats, we know that's going to be the millennial generation. Now, where do they find homes? On the internet. So to me, if I'm, really thinking about, how do I get the message out? We've got Instagram, we've got social media that they're so in tune to. That has to be a part of where we go in terms of just getting the information out. And I do think, just as you said, we've got to get the right message out in terms of what does it look like in terms of investing? What does the investment look like? So we have the internet, we have social media, we have our databases. All of those things are going to be key in order to bring that information to our new set of buyers.
Yep.
I think I saw something. This is your chance to buy. I couldn't see what was in the chat. This is
Buy
your
without
chance.
bidding wars. Yep. That's been my
I love that.
Great one.
Yes. I love that, Tamara. And thank you so much, because I think we have to remind our real estate professionals, like, this is the time that you can truly negotiate the best. And to me, the thing that I love about, being a real estate professional is that we get to really showcase our skill sets, and negotiation truly is a skill set. So now you don't have to worry about that $50,000 over asking price. We really have things that we can ask for our clients and really be able to get them into those homes. So that's back again.
Yeah. I mean, it could be as simple as here's a chance to buy without bidding wars. In my head, I was thinking, hey, want to lock your cost of living for the next 30 years? Let's talk. Yep. Or missed out on that opportunity to buy your first house. Attend my seminar this Saturday over mimosas, and we're going to talk about it. Whatever your message is, whatever your draw is, I think there's a giant thing around first-time home buyers.
Jane just said she had a teammate that submitted, 61,000 over asking.
Yeah.
Wow. That is, it's not the norm, but it's not to say that we won't see that. But there is so much out here.
Some of that.
We're going to see some of it, but there's so much out here where you have things that are coming back. And I'd like to kind of go back to the first young lady when she talked about, various programs. I think it's going to be important to hear about, even with educators, nursing, all of those different industries in terms of what's out there and available, what programs are available. And I think that that's an opportunity for us just to learn more about how we can be a resource to, all of our target markets.
Yeah. So let me jump into some conversations real quick so we don't run out of time here, Toya. Yeah. On Inman, they're talking about this open door stakes to bid to disrupt the real estate market, yada, yada, yada. Here's the reality. I don't think iBuyers went away. I think they went under the covers for a minute and they're about to come back out in a big way. You're not going to get the small players. You're going to get Open Door. Yeah. And Open Door is certainly going to play in the iBuyer world in our backyard. If you're not aware, you need to be prepared for that. If you go to Keller Offers is buying real estate in Atlanta. I talked to the lady in Anaheim. So you need to be aware of this. I'm going to do an informational seminar with them probably in the next couple of weeks. But I wanted you to have the information. You need to familiarize yourself with coloroffers.com and make sure you have this in your toolbox if you're coming up against Open Door or any other iBuyer that's coming to the table.
All right, before you move on from that, can I just add one thing? There are three certifications. So if you notice, there's the cash offer program, ready to stay, and ready to sell program. Those are three different certifications that every KW agent should have. It only takes just a few minutes in order to get them. You go through the tutorial and you're done. The cool thing that you mentioned is that's a tool in your toolkit, because when you're going to say, hey, Mr. Seller, I have several different options in order for you to sell your property, a cash offer program is just one option. So we can make a guaranteed offer the same way that Mark Spain and all of the other companies are doing that.
100%. You said the dirty name. All right. Last thing I was going to show you, if you're looking at 10-year Treasury note, I say it from time to time, but it's worthy of repeating. If you track the 10-year Treasury note, it is the best indication of where mortgage interest rates are going. So if you look from February 23rd to today, March, where are we at? March 6th. Interest rates, if they're following this trend, have gone up. What has happened to interest rates, Toya?
Interest rates have gone down.
Okay. In the last 7 days?
I don't know. That's a good one. We didn't have
gone up
it.
a little bit in the last 7 days. Yeah. So it typically helps you understand what's happening with interest rates. Right now, remember, everything's a trend. So we're on an upward trend in the 10-year Treasury note. You're going to see an upward trend in interest rates. It's not exact, but it's the best way to predict where interest rates are going. Make sense?
It does. But here's the thing to keep in mind about interest rates. They are still relatively low in comparison to where we have been. And I think we've gotten so comfortable with the 2 to 3% interest rates that, we forget that history repeats itself. It is still a great time to buy. It is still a great time to, as you say, lock in, just because, again, you can get the biggest return on your investment. And that's where we need to think about, is it the negotiations on the price point? Price averages of price points have pretty much leveled out. So it really, we really do have to educate and just figure out, what's going to be the best option. But here's the thing that we can't predict. We can't predict rental rates. You have no power with that. You do with a fixed interest rate.
There you go. And I don't care. Well, here's the other thing about first-time homebuyers. They don't have the same emotion attached to the interest rate that somebody that's in a house today with a 3% interest rate is going, man, if I sell this house and I buy my next house, I'm going to have to pay 7%. That's a different emotion than somebody buying their first house and paying 7% because they're not letting go of something. So I really think new construction is going to help. I think you're going to see a lot of new construction that's going to be geared towards first-time home buyers. Natalie, I wouldn't fall over or fall out of my chair if we saw some first-time home buyer incentives from the U.S. government in the next 12 months. But I'm not holding my breath either. Like, let's go. I think people need to understand the power of owning real estate, and they need to understand the power of locking in cost of living for an extended period of time. Because if you wait, your cost of living is going to change because prices are appreciating. If Jane's got houses that are selling for $60,000 over asking price, guess what's happening to prices again? So not only are you going to pay more for a house, but you're going to lose the opportunity of the interest rate.
And I would add with new construction, they are giving huge incentives right now for both buyer and real estate professionals. I know we saw in the last couple of years where they kind of discounted our commission. Now they are certainly paying those bonuses again. They're giving great incentives for both the buyer and the real estate professionals. So I would just say staying in touch and finding out who those builders are in your particular area and, you know, just what incentives they have can be a huge game changer for your clients and for you.
So the question was, why do interest rates follow the 10-year treasury rate? The 10-year treasury rate sensitivity is most closely related to mortgage rates. And it has everything to do with how investors feel in terms of risk. So most economists, they're not exactly related, but most economists will tell you the 10-year treasury, because of the timeline of that note, tells you where the sensitivity around the cost of money is. And it's the easiest place to follow to understand where interest rates are going. So it sounds complicated, but it's not, right? Like the interest rates has everything to do with how people feel the risk of money compared to what the government says the prime rate has to be in terms of rate of return. Toya, you got a different answer?
I don't. You know, I do think it is important for us just to, you know, continuously stay abreast of what's going on. But I would say the market as a whole, you know, unfortunately, we know our consumers will receive a lot of their information on a national level. And I do think we just have to keep it hyper local for them, because what's happening in one part of the world does not mean that that's happening in theirs. Yeah. And I think we just have to be relevant in terms of what's really happening right in our world and bring that information to them.
So what's happening in your world?
Man, the South Side is always picking up some great things. We truly do have, you know, thinking of affordability, I tell people, look outside in the suburbs. I know a lot of people were moving in, but that is where we're seeing a lot of affordability. I will say, don't discount some of those micro communities or micro homes that are coming up. That's another great area in terms of looking for those things. We're seeing them in College Park. We're seeing them actually in the city. I call them tiny homes, but the new official word is micro communities and micro homes. So I think that people are really kind of scaling down, yet they're looking for something that's going to be close to the things that they like and love. So I do think that there is a place for everyone, no matter if they want to be in Metro Atlanta or if they want to be in the suburbs.
There you go. We start and end on time. Love you. Happy Monday.
Adios. Happy Monday.